Welcome to TractoMemo. In this video, we'll revisit 5 legendary tractors that shaped the golden days of American farming. Each one carries a story of strength, endurance, and timeless pride. Stay with us to discover why these machines are true treasures of the countryside. Don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into the fields of memory. Case DC. In 1939, when the Case DC first appeared, American agriculture stood at a crossroads. The Great Depression had loosened its grip, but farmers still counted every dollar. War clouds gathered in Europe, and soon the world would change forever. Out on the plains of the Midwest, though, what mattered most was getting seed in the ground and food on the table. Into that moment rolled the Case DC, built in Racine, Wisconsin, designed to give farmers power at a price they could reach. The DC was not flashy. It wore a coat of bright case orange and carried a reputation for rugged endurance. At release, it sold for around $1,500, a significant sum, but affordable compared to larger tractors of the day. Exact production numbers remain unclear, but from 1939 through 1953, thousands spread across the country, especially in the Corn Belt. Today, a restored DC can bring anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000, depending on condition and originality. Under the hood, the Case DC housed a sturdy 4-cylinder gasoline engine. Rated at about 36 horsepower, it turned steadily at 1,300 revolutions per minute. Some variants offered distillate or kerosene options, reflecting the fuel realities of the 1940s. Power reached the ground through a 4-speed transmission, giving farmers flexibility in fieldwork. At more than 6,000 pounds, the tractor had the weight to pull heavy implements, while a 20-gallon fuel tank kept it running through long summer days. With rear tires tall and wide, and front wheels set for row crop work, the DC fit neatly into the rhythm of American farms. What truly set the DC apart was its character. Farmers remember the deep, throaty rumble of its engine as it echoed across fields at sunrise. The smell of warm oil, the vibration through the steel seat, the sight of smoke curling into the morning air, these were the sensations of security. Many families trusted the DC to plow their acres, haul their wagons, and see them through uncertain times. Buying a Case DC today brings both charm and challenge. The tractor is mechanically simple, and many owners praise its straightforward repairs. Parts are available, though not always easy to track down. Collectors often joke, if you can fix a hammer, you can fix a DC. Still, one must check carefully for cracked blocks, worn transmissions, or tired hydraulics before bringing one home. The legacy of the Case DC reaches beyond nuts and bolts. It was a machine that carried families through war years and into prosperity. It worked not only the soil but also the memory of a generation. For those who grew up beside it, the DC was part of childhood, climbing on the fender, watching a father or grandfather at the wheel. And so, when you see one today, paint faded by decades of sun, you might pause. The lines are simple, the steel is heavy, the stance is proud. You can almost hear that low rumble again, carrying across a field of corn. The Case DC was never just iron and fuel, it was, and still is, a companion on the long journey of American farming. From the steady strength of Case, we move into the bright red fields of Farmall, where a new chapter of American farming began. Farmall Model H. In 1939, as American farms stood on the edge of change, International Harvester introduced a machine that would soon become a household name, the Farmall Model H. Built in Rock Island, Illinois, this tractor was part of the legendary Farmall Letter series. Priced for the everyday farmer, exact numbers vary and are not clear, it became one of the most produced tractors in history, with nearly 400,000 units rolling off the line before production ended in 1953. From the dairy farms of Wisconsin to the wheat fields of Nebraska, the red-painted Farmall H became a fixture of rural America. Its reputation was simple, reliable, affordable, and capable of handling nearly every chore on a medium-sized farm. Under its steelhead lay a 4-cylinder gasoline engine, though kerosene and distillate versions were also available. The power rating stood at about 26 horsepower at the drawbar and close to 33 on the belt pulley. It was not a giant, but it was efficient, perfectly matched for 2 plows or a variety of mid-sized implements. Rated engine speed hovered near 1,650 RPM, a brisk rhythm for its day. Transmission offered 5 forward speeds and 1 reverse, giving farmers options for both field work and lighter hauling. The fuel tank held around 22 gallons, meaning the H could stay in the field for long, steady hours. Weighing in at around 4,800 pounds, it stood sturdy yet manageable, well suited to the everyday labor of the American farm. What set the Farmall H apart was not only its numbers but its spirit. The bright, fire engine red paint stood as a proud banner across the fields, instantly recognizable from a distance. Its sound was a steady, confident hum, higher pitched than the deep-throated Case DC, but just as steady. The sight of a Farmall H pulling a cultivator row by row remains etched in the memories of many who grew up on farms in the 1940s and 1950s. On cool mornings, the exhaust puffed small white clouds into the sky, marking the rhythm of another day's work. For today's collectors and working farmers, the Farmall H still holds value. Its simple design makes it one of the easiest vintage tractors to repair. Replacement parts are widely available, thanks to its huge production numbers. Yet a buyer should inspect the rear axles for wear, the cooling system for leaks, and the clutch for smooth engagement. A well-kept H can still perform light farm work or parade duty with ease. The legacy of the Farmall H rests in its role as the family tractor. It was not the biggest nor the strongest, but it was the one most families could afford, and the one that did the daily work without fail. Generations remember its red glow in the barn, the warm metal smell after a day's work, and the way its steering wheel felt in young hands learning to drive for the first time. The H was a symbol of possibility, a promise that with steady work and dependable tools, a farm could thrive. As we move from the red fields of Farmall, our journey carries us westward, where another name, Oliver, stood proudly in green, waiting to make its mark on America's farmland. Leaving the red glow behind, our journey takes us westward, to the smooth lines and green pride of Oliver. Oliver 77. In 1948, the Oliver Farm Equipment Company introduced the Model 77, a tractor that blended style, strength, and dependability. Post-war America was booming, and farmers wanted machines that could keep up with growing fields and new expectations. The Oliver 77 stepped forward as a tractor that was both practical and handsome, often remembered for its dark green paint accented with red wheels and cream trim. It was a machine that looked as good as it worked. The Model 77 carried a price tag of around $2,500 when new. Production numbers are not exact, but the tractor quickly became popular across the Midwest and into the eastern states. Its reputation for durability and ease of handling made it a favorite among family farms that wanted to step up from smaller row crop tractors. Today, collectors often prize a well-restored 77 at $5,000 to $9,000, with rare diesel models commanding even higher prices. Underneath the hood, the Oliver 77 offered versatility. Farmers could choose gasoline, diesel, or kerosene burning engines, depending on their needs. The most common gasoline version delivered about 37 horsepower at the drawbar and over 40 on the belt pulley. With a 6-speed transmission, it provided smooth shifting and flexibility. The tractor weighed about 5,000 pounds, with a fuel tank of nearly 20 gallons. Its size was comfortable, not as massive as giants like the Minneapolis Moline G, but strong enough to handle plowing, cultivating, and hauling with ease. What made the Oliver 77 memorable was not just its numbers, but its feel. The engine ran smoothly, with a steady hum that carried across quiet valleys. Farmers recall how it started easily on cold mornings, a blessing in harsh northern winters. Its seat and controls were thoughtfully arranged, reducing fatigue during long days in the field. For many, the 77 represented a new era of comfort and reliability in tractor design. The visual presence of the 77 also left an impression. Its deep green paint, polished grille, and red wheels gave it a proud, almost elegant stance. Children growing up in the 1950s remember climbing onto the wide fenders, their shoes slipping on smooth steel, as their fathers guided the tractor between rows of corn. The smell of fresh-cut hay, the sound of birds, and the hum of the Oliver blended into timeless summer memories. For buyers today, the 77 remains a rewarding collector's piece. Its mechanical design is straightforward, and many parts are still available through enthusiast networks and aftermarket suppliers. Restorers note that diesel versions can be trickier to maintain, but gasoline models are remarkably forgiving. The key is to check for wear in the transmission and hydraulic systems, as decades of use may have left their mark. The legacy of the Oliver 77 lies in its balance, neither the biggest nor the smallest, but dependable, stylish, and capable. It carried farmers through seasons of prosperity and uncertainty, leaving behind a reputation of steady service. And when you see one today, shining green in the sun, you might pause. The Oliver 77 reminds us that farming was not only about hard work, but also about pride in the land, pride in the family, and pride in the machines that made it all possible. From Oliver's modern hum, we arrive at the true heartbeat of the countryside, the unmistakable sound of John Deere's Model A. John Deere Model A. In 1934, as the Great Depression still weighed heavy on American farms, John Deere introduced a tractor that would soon define the look, the sound, and the spirit of rural life. The John Deere Model A, built in Waterloo, Iowa, it was the first true row crop tractor from Deere, and it quickly won the hearts of farmers across the nation. Priced within reach of the working man, the exact figure in dollars is not clear, it became one of the most iconic tractors ever produced. Over the course of nearly 2 decades, from 1934 to 1952, more than 300,000 Model A units left the factory, making it a staple across the Midwest, the South, and beyond. For many, the Model A was not just a machine, it was the green and yellow heartbeat of American farming. Beneath its hood, the Model A carried Deere's famous 2-cylinder engine, often called the Johnny Popper for its unmistakable sound. Depending on the year and setup, it produced between 18 and 25 horsepower at the drawbar, and about 27 on the belt pulley. Rated engine speed sat around 975 RPM, slow and steady, with a torque that pulled far above its size. The transmission offered 4 forward gears and 1 reverse in early models, with later versions upgraded to 6 forward speeds. A fuel tank of about 12 gallons was enough to keep it working a long morning or afternoon. With a drawbar pull near 3,000 pounds and a weight of around 3,700 pounds, the Model A was compact but powerful, perfect for 2-plow farming and a variety of chores. Yet it was the sensory experience of the Model A that burned itself into memory. The sight of green paint with bright yellow wheels was unlike any other, a symbol instantly recognizable. Its sound, the slow, rhythmic pop-pop-pop of the 2-cylinder, echoed across the fields and down country roads. Children could hear it before they saw it, and they ran to the fence to watch it pass. On hot summer days, the smell of warm oil and exhaust clung to the air, mixing with cut hay and fresh earth. The steering wheel was large and firm, worn smooth by countless hands. To many, it was not just a tractor, it was part of the family's daily rhythm. For those seeking a John Deere Model A today, it remains one of the most collectible tractors of all time. Parts are readily available through a wide network of collectors and suppliers. Buyers should pay close attention to the condition of the 2-cylinder engine, ensuring it still produces that steady rhythm. Gearbox wear and cooling system leaks are also points to watch. With care, the Model A can still run, pulling small implements or shining in parades, a living piece of history. The legacy of the Model A lies in its sound and its presence. It was the tractor that announced its arrival long before it appeared, the machine that painted America's fields green and yellow. Generations remember the sight of it working against the horizon, exhaust puffing in rhythm with the land itself. The Model A was not just a machine, it was the anthem of the countryside. From the steady pop of the John Deere, our journey now moves overseas, where another legend, the Fordson Major, brought strength and endurance to farms from Britain to America, and closes our story with a call to memory. As the Johnny Popper fades on the horizon, our road crosses the ocean, where the mighty Fordson Major brought new strength from Britain to America. Fordson Major. In 1951, across the Atlantic in England, a tractor was born that would carry its strength across oceans and fields alike, the Fordson Major. Built in Dagenham, near London, this machine embodied the spirit of post-war farming, when nations were rebuilding and mechanization was spreading rapidly. The Major soon reached American shores, offering farmers a sturdy and dependable option. Its original price is not clear, but it was marketed as a powerful yet affordable machine, bringing modern horsepower within reach of ordinary farmers. Between 1951 and 1964, production numbers reached into the hundreds of thousands, with tractors exported worldwide, from Europe to the prairies of North America. The Fordson Major's heart was a four-cylinder engine, most often diesel, though gasoline versions existed. Rated output was around 48 to 51 horsepower at the drawbar, with belt ratings slightly higher. For its time, this was serious muscle, giving farmers the ability to pull 3 or even 4 plows. Engine speed ran about 1,700 RPM, and transmission offered 6 forward gears and 2 reverse. The fuel tank held close to 17 gallons, enough for steady work through the day. At over 6,000 pounds in weight and nearly 140 inches in length, the Major stood tall and strong, a commanding figure in the barnyard. But beyond the raw figures, what farmers remember about the Fordson Major is its power and sound. The diesel engine gave off a deep, throbbing beat, different from the pop of John Deere or the hum of Oliver. Its exhaust smoke was thick and dark, curling into the air on frosty mornings. Many recall the feeling of the seat vibrating beneath them as the tractor dug its plows deep into black earth. Its blue paint, paired with orange wheels, became a bold signature. From far across the field, you could tell when a Major was at work. Today, collectors and working farmers alike still value the Fordson Major. Its rugged design means that many continue to run, decades after leaving the factory. Replacement parts are obtainable, especially for the diesel versions that dominated production. Buyers should pay attention to worn clutches, tired hydraulics, and the condition of the cylinder head, as age can bring cracks. Yet with care, a Major can still be put to work or proudly displayed as a survivor of an era when strength and durability were everything. The Fordson Major's legacy is one of reach and resilience. It was a tractor that traveled the world, proving itself on small family farms and vast estates alike. Generations remember the sound of its diesel on crisp mornings, the smell of fuel in the barn, and the feel of its heavy steering wheel. It was a machine that seemed carved from steel itself, a trusted partner in both hardship and harvest. And as our journey through the fields of America and beyond comes to an end, we are left with a reminder. These 5 tractors, the Case DC, the Farmall H, the Oliver 77, the John Deere A, and the Fordson Major, were more than machines. They were lifelines, companions, and symbols of a time when farming meant muscle, patience, and pride. If these stories stir memories for you, perhaps of family, of neighbors, or of your own days on the farm, share them in the comments. Subscribe to this channel to join us again as we wander down the rows of history, bringing to life the machines that shaped the countryside. Thank you for being part of this journey, and may the hum of these old engines always echo in your heart.